I can still hear Robert. Anyway, good evening, Truck and Tractor Pull fans. Hey, we've got a pretty cool little show going on here tonight. As you all know, we had a wonderful weekend of truck and tractor pulling indoors in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at the would have been the 18th annual Keystone Nationals truck and tractor pull. And a lot of exciting things went on there. Number one, I wasn't there again 3 years in a row, unfortunately. Or two, yeah, 4 to 5. Yeah, this is the third year I wasn't there. Uh, Stuff at home. But anyway, uh, I did watch a lot of the live stream when I could, and it's pretty good stuff. A couple of glitches on Thursday night, but they got through it. And the remainder of the weekend was pretty good. Um, Again, a lot of excitement. The first thing that jumped out at me was that the sessions didn't run super late. They've done a good job about getting stuff done in a timely manner, and that's great. That goes a long way with both the professional fan, if you will, and the everyday Joe with his family there that doesn't want to be there till midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So kudos to them for getting stuff done in a timely manner. The track, I heard, I mean, on the live stream, ramblings, through Messenger and messages and stuff like that. That track was probably one of the best tracks all weekend long as far as consistency goes. Jimmy knocked it out of the park building that track. Good job. That's Jimmy Moritz. Excellent job.
I heard the secret to the successful track.
If you heard it from him, it's probably a bunch of bull. But
I heard it secondhand. I'm not going to mention it on here, but I heard the
No.
secret to the successful track, and yeah, it was impressive. They also the track crew did an amazing job keeping it groomed.
It's a big job. An indoor pool is a big job with dirt, especially when you're not allowed to haul clay in. So you're basically working with what you have there. I've seen that track absolutely. Sorry guys, horrible. But they've seemed to have a good handle on it now. And again, Jimmy, kudos to you, buddy, for getting that track built every day and very consistent all session long, all 4 sessions. So, or was it for 5 sessions? I guess now 5 sessions now. Yeah, things have changed, man, since I've been there. But of course, all the champions were crowned, and I don't. We have I have the finals pulled aside over here for results. We do have Jason Forrester is scheduled to be on here. I know he's a busy person, even busier now in the pre-planning stages of a few things that he pulled off on his own. Nice little stunt there Saturday night, but it was pretty awesome. I was very happy for him and Heidi. Congratulations to them, and we'll get into that hopefully when he gets on here in a little bit. So. Kendra's sick tonight, so we're not going to see her. Unfortunately, she thinks she may be coming down with the flu. Unfortunately, she did stay home today, and it is tax season, so I can't imagine being sick like that and having to sit in front of a computer for hours and hours and hours on end doing people's taxes. So, prayers for you to get better soon, Kendra. And we got Robert Garaba. I can't say what I usually call him on live TV here, but just kidding. Rabba. But anyway, he was there, filmed the garden tractor pull over in whatever arena, the big arena they call it, large arena.
Yeah, New Holland.
New Holland Arena, and they pretty much have their own track to themselves now, and I think that works out good for both shows. They're not.
They had 3 tracks pulling on.
Yeah. So they, of course, and you had it going live, and that's Robert Drawbridge on YouTube, so you can go watch that. I assume that's still up and
it's still on there.
All that stuff. So anyway, this weekend, Rob, we can go ahead and start with you if you want. Quick, people get in chat here. I'll jump over to chat here in a minute. Start looking at see who all is in here. But Robert, they got a big antique indoor tractor pull there this weekend. If you want to talk about that briefly.
Yeah, I'm going to be filming the Mid-Atlantic antique tractors, the Super Pull. So we'll film that Friday and Saturday live to start at 8 a.m. Right now they got 2 tracks lined up, and on track 1 they're gonna have 24 classes, and then track 2 they're gonna have 19 classes. Of course, they got this started at 3,000 pounds, 3.5 miles an hour, and then 4 miles an hour in the same class, and so on up. They do have quite a bit of jackpots on 3,750.
There he is.
4 miles an hour and 3.5 miles an hour. Same thing on 4250. Then
Right.
also they got a 4625. I'm not sure why the 25, but that's an FAA benefit pool.
Okay.
So that Saturday basically track one is loaded with jackpots. On the fast side, on 6, 8, and 50 miles an hour, they got them jackpot on 3750. The FFA pool on 4625 benefit pool. Then the 4750 is a jackpot, 6 miles and 8 miles an hour and 15 miles an hour. And then 5250, 6, 8, and 15 miles an hour. They got a jackpot pool. So I'm not going to go down every half a mile. There's a lot of classes, and looks like I got for both days. I'm the only one's going to be filming, live streaming this one. I'm going to have cameras all over the place again on both sides of the track. Saturday we covered 5 cameras, and we covered them on all 3 tracks. So this time I'm probably going to have 5 or 6 cameras, maybe 7. But I'm going to be working everything myself.
You don't have your helper.
You're the man.
The track, you're going to see it in wide view because, you have to go to the boys' room or have a lunch or a break or something. It's going to be a Friday. I expect it to go till about midnight and start at 8 a.m. So
yeah, they need to watch the Keystone crew. They can show you how to get her done fast. Hi, Jason. I don't mean to jump off subject here, but good to have you here tonight, Jason. Papa Spur.
Hey, what's happening? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you great, man. Loud and clear.
Good.
Loud and clear. What an exciting weekend for you, huh?
Oh, best ever. It don't get any better than that, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. Hi, David Kaufman. Good to see you. Jacob, can you reword your question for me, buddy? I'm not quite sure if that was a question or something about a little history for me. But I'm trying to say I'm old or something now. But anyway. Yeah, it's a great weekend. I watched as much of the live stream as I could, and that's the first thing I brought up here tonight was how quickly the shows got done. They wouldn't run until midnight, 1 o'clock, or they were done before midnight. And that's awesome for the amount of hooks and stuff. Good track all weekend long, very consistent. We talked about that too. Jimmy did a well of a job as well as the track workers and stuff. So, yeah, man, looks like it's dialed in pretty good this year.
It was really good, and things that we've done to make it go quicker is, I mean, we do have a few less hooks, than what we used to run in the past. And actually, this year, if you notice, like when we do our signups, there's a 12 to a class, or if it's a double class, they can go up to 24 or whatever. And this year we extended that a little bit. There were some classes that had. I think the light limited class maybe had 15 or 16 in, just because we wanted to take everyone that was there. And then the truck class, that class got really big really quick.
Yeah.
The 62 trucks. So that was really good. But the goal was to try to keep the numbers down so we could get the show done in quicker time. So, you know how it goes, JR. We'll have to discuss these things and see if it makes sense to try to cut them back. I mean, really, you want to get done, before 11 for sure. Before 10 would be great. So that might be the thing to do next year.
Yeah, but you also got to worry about, you got a big show to pay for. That's another thing. People say, why do they pull so many vehicles? Sometimes, you got to get in, you got to run all you can because, I know working with you guys, you got bills to pay. People don't understand what it costs to run that show indoors. It's not cheap.
Well, that's really where the budget comes in. I mean, you need 250 vehicles.
Yes.
Or more. And, in years past, we ran up to, well, not including all the minis, but I mean, we had as many as 280 vehicles pulled there before. and that's where we really had our long nights. You know, that one Thursday night we had 105 hooks, and now we're down to doing somewhere in the 70s, and the goal was to stay in the 60s. So we were kind of in the high 60s, low 70s. So that's why we kind of got done a little bit quicker than normal.
Yeah.
Maybe an earlier starting time.
You know, the older we get, the earlier we start. And I keep kidding with the guys. Pretty soon we're going to be starting at noon, you know, because everyone's like, why don't we just start a half hour earlier? So now we're all the way down to 5:30.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the next step's 5 o'clock, obviously. And you like to think everyone's working till 5 or, you know, 4 o'clock or something, and it can get there. But yeah, that's something we've been doing. We've been, you know, starting earlier all along, but you know, we try to find ways to make it go quicker and maybe have a few less vehicles. When if you're out of there by 10 or 11, that's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah, the turnaround times were pretty good there all weekend. Didn't really waver. That was that keeps it moving.
Mm-hmm.
What we run into, and if you notice on the live stream, and you got to realize when someone comes to a pool like that, first of all, they're very amped up, meaning they've worked a lot to get their truck, tractor, whatever ready, and they're just amped up. And so when we start parking guys, we always run into a few that, you know, don't want to conform because they're amped up. And then you get them inside and, you know, things don't go 100%, they're amped up. And then you get them down to the starting line. They don't want to put their helmets and stuff on. They want to wait and really enjoy the moment. And you can see when you're watching the guys that are ready are taking off, and we're able to turn them about every 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah. Yep.
The guys that want to enjoy the moment, they are putting their helmet on, then they strap themselves in, and then they check. I don't know what they're checking for.
Yep.
Yeah, they're doing, and you know, you really can't say anything to them because they put a lot of effort in to get there. That, you know, that's just the way they do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, sometimes what they don't realize is when that goes to 5 minutes or, you know, even 4 minutes, and you add that over a night's worth of, you know, 60 hooks, that's a long time. That's like another hour of the show just messing around, you know, at the starting line. But all in all, it was probably one of the best we did.
Yeah, I think
had a
so.
conversation with one of the drivers, and he said, I just don't want to look like a fool. I got to make sure I get everything right now.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's 100%, you know.
Taking time to make sure he's got it right, because he says, I only got one chance at this.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. And everyone, like, sitting on the sidelines, tractor pulling is really easy. And, you know, the tractors just go and the trucks just go every single time. And you just don't think there's, you know, it just looks like anyone can do it. And really anyone can do it once everything's set up and working. But the problem is most of this stuff, especially indoor pulling, everyone's trying something a little bit different. Hey, let's see if this works. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And, you know, the Keystone track down there is really hard to get a hold of, but easy to get a hold of. I know that doesn't make any sense, but if you really study it and can figure out what's going on there, you can just grab a hold of it and go. And sometimes it's not always about the horsepower. And we've seen that over the weekend. We see that every time there.
You got to know how to drive. You got to know how to set your vehicle up. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, you definitely got to think outside of the box. When we pulled there the last 2 years in the 3.0 class, we went outside of the box in the first year, and it paid off big.
Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, it's. I would say this year, as far as being consistent, I think this year is probably one of the better tracks at the event. I didn't see the previous 2 years this year, but well, I'd say this year. I thought.
Yeah, it stayed really consistent, and the track crew did a phenomenal job.
Yep.
And you know, sometimes, like, I'm always out there telling them, "Hey, you need to get done," but they want to make it perfect for every single puller. And I would say that they did a damn good job this year.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, he started watering the track on Saturday, the week before.
The week before, that's correct. Yep.
Yeah, so he had a lot of water down in, which that really helped out a lot. And Jimmy takes a lot of pride in doing that stuff, and he did a great job All the guys that worked on the track did a phenomenal job, and I don't know where anyone could really complain this weekend.
I haven't heard any. And in fact, during the live show, or during your live feed, they had various people come in, stop by, and talk, different pullers, and every single one of them praised how good the track was, that weekend. So
yeah, I heard a lot of positive comments on using the skid loader rakes instead of
yeah.
using a tractor and a box scraper. I mean, I guess that was something different for this year's, not having a box scraper out there much.
Yeah, we did that last year too. And our rakes they're okay. But if you get down on the track, the failure of them is they don't move much dirt. So
Right.
as the problem is, especially down there at Keystone, and this is at any pool, but as soon as the guys take off, they're dragging all that dirt from the starting line to the finish line.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. You don't get that dirt moved back down there with the rakes. So it worked out. And I think we got some ideas on how to change the rakes to be able to move some more dirt. Yeah, we're constantly looking for a better way to do it. Trust me, we're always looking.
Every year, always. There's always a new topic. That's one thing about the meetings. There's always, you go to that first one for the following year coming, and there's always a new idea on the table.
Yeah,
And it
but
takes how many meetings, Jason? It takes
Yeah.
just about every meeting to discuss the idea.
Yep, but you're right. I think the rakes really did a nice job there. In fact, that track got so hard, if you can believe this, that the starting line skid loader with that rake on, if you tried to bury that in, that track skid loader couldn't push that rake.
At Keystone,
Wow.
that's amazing.
That's how solid that dirt was. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that is really crazy.
That's the first I've ever heard of that there. So
Yeah.
Well, it was probably all that extra moisture down in because
Yep.
it would get crumbly and loose as time went on most times.
Yep. It really worked good.
That's great. Good deal. What we won't talk about any negatives. There's always some downfalls here and there, but that's between y'all to take care of that. But I'd say, is there something you guys have put forth towards maybe next year? Any new ideas yet? Or I know you
Well,
haven't met yet, but
no, we haven't met, and we try really hard on the live stream to do a good job, and man, we just haven't done it. This year on Thursday night, the audio was horrible.
yes.
And I don't understand. I mean, the guy doing the live stream, he got some new equipment and the stuff didn't work out right. So he went back to his old stuff and we got it tuned back in. But every single year, there's something with the live stream. And that's something I'm going to work hard on to tackle because, that's something that people are paying for and they want a good product that they're paying for. And I didn't watch all the live stream. I just watched Thursday night a little bit because I heard there was problems, so I had to watch. But I feel like that's a place where we can improve quite a bit.
The biggest problem I saw was Thursday nights. The audio. I don't know what kind of interference they were experiencing there, but it's enough to pull your hair out. I was like, holy moly! And I knew people were going to get upset about it. After that, it wasn't bad. I like the fact that they were getting people, like Bob Parks, Puller Tires, and different people coming in as a sitting guest every so often. I kind of like that commentary stuff is cool for people to meet, hear and meet the people.
So I haven't watched that, but how was the guest commentary? I mean, sound wise, how did the guest commentary sound?
It was good. You could hear them and everything. It was fine.
So
I thought it was for me. I know some people were having trouble. Maybe it could be their cable feed or whatever, their internet could be, at some people's places might not be as good. Here, like I say, the only complaint I don't even have a complaint, but the only thing I saw was the sound for Thursday. But other than that, the rest of the weekend, it was spot on here.
Well, I just mentioned it earlier too. I mean, I'm gonna do this, Friday and Saturday again, and that's what I'm personally struggling with constantly in every arena. There is these microphones, for instance, they'll pick up your fans, the exhaust fans, the air conditioning, the heater blowing, especially the Bobcats, running.
Yeah.
They're not doing the rumble, but they're going this in.
Yeah.
These microphones are so sensitive to pick it up, and you're trying to tune it down and tune it up, back and forth all the time. So that's I feel your pain. I deal with that every time I'm in the arena, and I'm doing the best I can with it.
How about just an idea? How about if you tried wind socks or something over your microphones to get rid of that hiss? It's a like what I'm talking about, a foam sock or a feathered sock or something.
They had that.
Where
I
see if it
watched
don't
them.
knock it down.
I watched them.
Well, yeah. In a large hall, you have a lot of echo and reverb, and so you have your gain turned up on your microphones to try to pick it up. And that's the biggest thing is when people talk in the mic, they almost have to have it touching their lips in order to get good sound, so you don't have to crank the gain up. And once your gain goes up, then you get all that background.
Right.
I would.
I'm gonna jump at it and I'm gonna show you something.
Like I do a lot of sound, and I switch to different types of mics. And I don't know if they use the house microphones out of the farm show arena to do the sound there, or if they bring them in. And it could be that the microphones, it just could be the type of microphones that they're using there. But again, if the microphone is off angle, if you're using a tight microphone, if they get it too far away from their mouth, they'll start losing it. But that might be a consideration is to cancel out the sound is to use a super cardioid mic.
Yep.
What is that? A breathing device?
Well, it looks like it, but it's not. So this actually goes right over your mouth, and you can't hear any noise, ambient noise from outside. They use them in courtrooms. So reporters in courtrooms, they block all the sound, outside sound. So I'm going to be trying this this weekend, see how it works.
Okay.
So
I'm sure the announcers. I'm sure the announcers wouldn't be too impressed with a microphone like that, though.
Probably
I'm
not.
not going to film myself with it. I'm just after the sound,
Yeah.
So what we were trying to get done for this year is a soundproof room for the live stream and for the guys that were speaking on live stream. And I just couldn't get it to happen. Like we were close. Next year, that is a must. At least knock down some of that sound. And, you don't realize how noisy all that track equipment is on the track. It's crazy noisy. And then you have the announcers for the show in the arena. And just what you said, it's cranked up so people can hear. And it's just a lot going on. So one thing we did this year, and we kind of did a pilot program on it, is we had you could have got a set of earmuffs with speakers, like a set of Beats or something, but you can download this app and you could listen to it through the Bluetooth on your phone, and it was super clear.
Yeah, I did that. I was sitting in the stands, and with the reverb in there, it's actually hard to hear just in the blue seats. So I would leave it running on my phone and just put it up to my ear if I thought I needed to listen to something.
Yeah, that is the problem down there. If someone came with a great idea on what to do with the sound, we would even put a different sound system in for that show. You got to realize that arena is made for soft talking, and there's either horses or cattle in there, and there's no noise. So they don't need, so there's probably more bass there than anything, and they don't need loud talking because it's easy to hear. But while we have all that noise going on, that system's not built for that.
Yeah, it's tough in a big echoey arena. There's nothing to soak up the sound in there, plus all the sound of everything else. It's just not optimal.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just you have to have a good soundboard and a good sound technician that knows how to handle it, and he's the only one manipulating all the sounds and adjusting it constantly. But it constantly needs to be adjusted.
The sound in the arena, I think, is set static. It's set up ahead of time, and that's the sound level that gets run throughout the weekend. And again, when you set it up, you're doing it with no noise, skid loaders and machines in the background.
Right.
Then when everything comes in and the whole house starts reverberating, then it's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. But again, after Thursday, it was much more improved. So
as a spectator in the stands, though, I wouldn't. I'm not complaining about the sound in the house. I understand what it is, and you get enough. You get enough going on in there that most people can understand what's going on. But if you're really trying to listen to the numbers and stuff, sometimes it's a little bit hard.
You know, I think about pulling a lot, and things that we know as pulling fans, and we really know how everything works. We know the different classes. We know how the sled is operating, how many weights, and we already know all this stuff because we're into it.
Yep.
I think the thing that we fail on in tractor pulling is teaching the new fan what the heck's going on here.
Mhm.
And one thing we were going to try to do, and we're going to do it for our outdoor pools. I couldn't get it done for Keystone, and I'm always looking for great ideas for this when all ears are open. But the sled really needs to have hanging on the side of the box actually how much weight is being pulled. That would make a lot of sense.
That is a common question. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
Here's what we don't know. Like, how can a 13,000 pound farm tractor go 340 feet? And now we're talking about 5,000 horsepower pro stocks going 300 feet. Like, that's confusing.
Yeah.
No one understands why that is when we're pulling for distance. So I feel like a lot of time.
Yep. Uh-oh. Where'd he go? I waved and he went by.
Yeah.
That must be magical. I was waving to Melinda and poof, he's gone.
Melinda.
There we go. Someone's called me. I feel like a lot of times in tractor pulling, we're not being very good to the new fan at all. And I think a lot of times we're struggling for new fans because they simply don't understand what the heck's going on.
Yeah. Good point.
So that's one thing I talked to Darren about is like, hey, let's just hang some different let's say that the sled is now 40,000 pounds. That starts to make a little bit of sense. It's 40,000 pounds versus 32,000 pounds at the least. Obviously, you kick the box up a gear and now you're topping the box out. That turns into a whole different level of what that force is. And you can make that up to be whatever. But I think the fan would 100% understand, hey, that dude pulled a 50,000 pound sled 340 feet, period.
Right.
Like, that's something to talk about.
Even the trip, you could even have them say that the sled, the pan's tripping at such and such feet, 150 feet or whatever,
So if anybody can give me I talked to some of the sled operators, this weighs 34,000 pounds empty, but then you add in 2,000 pound weights, but a lot of the folks don't understand how much more weight you added, and then the friction that it gets up to 140,000 pounds friction at the end, where the box is on the top, it's fully loaded now, it's just the wheels off the ground, and now you're just really dragging it by friction. So it's really kind of displaying, okay, you must this much weight in it, this is your multiplier when the box gets to the end, and you can figure it out that, okay, now you have 110,000 pounds by the time the box gets to the end. That's where a lot of questions come to me when I'm doing a gardening tractors. Well, how much weight did that kid pull? He pulled further than everybody else, But again, it goes back to how much weight they added into the box or took out.
Yeah, it's a very common, especially like in the YouTube videos, when your questions you'll get afterwards after you post a video. Oh, how heavy was the sled in this class or that class, and how come? You got these big, powerful 650 cubic inch trucks, and they only went such and such a foot. And then this modified street class, how they were going 320, 330, 340. Why is that? And that's a good example as to why.
Yeah,
you could help explain the difference.
Getting all that information out there makes a good experience for the spectators. Even the experienced spectators like to know the numbers and stuff. And at Beast of the
Yeah.
East, we run two announcers. One announcer's in the announcer's booth that does a lot of the sponsors and the distances and the drivers' names. And then we have an announcer that's out roaming with a wireless mic, and he puts a lot of information out there, and the fans really enjoy that. So once we've got him in there, start announcing a lot of the pool info as it progresses, that there was a lot of positive response from the spectators on that.
Yeah, somebody's actually telling them what's happening with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot about the vehicles, the classes, the weights of the sleds, and the different dynamics of a pool.
Yeah, that definitely helps out a lot. And you know, when I look at fans that come to Keystone, I feel like we're getting regular tractor pulling fans for the most part. These are friends and families of people who are there pulling, and maybe some casual fans that go to some of the other pulls. But I don't know how many new people we're getting, but I feel like during the summer, if we were doing a better job at all the outdoor pools, that you will get more people locked in to want to go to something like that, to an indoor pool.
Right.
So, you know, for the pools that we put on here in our area, we're going to work pretty hard at trying to explain what the heck's going on. And, you know, a lot of pullers might not like it, but we're going to start pinching the sled down and start staying closer to 300 feet instead of going 340, 350, because a lot of the guys don't like that, for one. And for two, it just doesn't make any sense to the people trying to watch. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck's going on here? You know, our track is 300 feet. How many tracks have you seen that are marked out to 310, 320, 330, 340? It's 300 feet. And then usually there's nothing after that.
Right.
So I think for the most part, 300 feet as a puller, 300 feet's far enough. You know, you can get her, like, look how there at Keystone, I mean, we're going 250. I mean, it felt like you were flying down through there. So you still have another 50 feet to go. And, you know, we're seeing speeds up to 38 miles an hour going 340, 350. That's getting a little dicey. Getting a little dicey.
Well, there's a safety factor involved. That I've done finish line flagging for 10, 11 years. And there's a safety factor. When they're that fast, their reaction time is you can't get out of the way fast enough if something goes wrong at that speed.
Yeah,
it definitely.
Big time.
Yeah, and it definitely goes against a little bit what we're doing here pulling wise. Like, that's not
drag
really
racing, you're pulling.
Yeah. It definitely goes against it a little bit, you know. And you know, I was just listening to the fella there. I'm not sure I ever met him, but about, you know, the 6 mile an hour farm and 4 mile an hour antique, and that all stuff makes sense. And even for us, okay, we're not going to put a 30 mile an hour speed limit on it, but you don't have to if the sled is set for 300 feet. And you know, it slows, and it's actually better pulling, really. I mean, it tightens the class up, and you don't get that guy that's 40 feet out in front of someone either.
Yeah.
He's still going to win, just not by as big a margin.
Yeah, we've had this discussion over on the East Coast side of things for a few years, and one year we really made an attempt to stay at 300 feet. It's, believe it or not, it's tough. It's tougher than you think. Back in the day, is 300 feet was, man, that was a great pool. Now, if you're not going, like you say, you're not going 320, 330, 340, you feel like you didn't have a good pool.
But you know, again, if that chain breaks too, just figure out what the wheel speed is on that tractor. Oh, if you're going 50 miles an hour, your wheel speed is way up there.
I've seen a triple turbine come unhooked, buddy.
I've seen a Gordon tractor and pickup truck too, and it's wild.
On your feet. Yeah.
I think the one that will wake you up pretty quick is the Gordyville, the Case tractor going 12 mile an hour. And you talk about being the end flagman. Did you guys all see that video where he broke the drawbar right toward the end of the pool?
Oh, really?
And it went up over the sand pile.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
The flagman never moved.
Wow.
He never moved because he didn't have time.
That's
at 12 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, think about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. What if?
That makes you think of your position on the track too when you're flagging.
Yeah. I never want to see a flagman in front of my tractor. That was the old school way of doing it.
Yeah.
And if I see that, I will tell that guy right away, do not ever, there's nothing that important to get in front of that
Yep.
pulling vehicle. Stay away.
And another
That's
part that scares me is the unhooking. I don't finish line flag. I have, but I don't. I know we try to tell our unhook guys, which are 90% of the time are volunteers. Okay, they're volunteers put in there by a promoter. Please wait till that vehicle is backed up before you go unhook the chain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Please wait.
Yeah.
It happens, man.
That's something that I appreciate with the way we run stuff. We have experienced guys that have been doing it for quite a few years, and that really makes a difference. But we still have our safety powwow before each event, just to make sure everybody's on the same page.
This year, Jacob, this year. He was
Well,
when that happened.
I have to tell you, Jason, I think that most tractor pullers should come and find out what your magic potion is there, because your tractor had one of the 2 most perfect pulls of the weekend. The thing sat back on the rear tires and just held it the whole way down. I mean, as soon as you left the line, I was like, that's impressive.
Yeah, it was. So the first night, I don't know if you noticed, most of the guys were pulling up out of the hole on the left side of the track.
Yeah.
And the first thing I look at, I don't spend a lot of time on the track to look, but it don't take long to see where you need to be.
Yeah.
So that first night, I went over to the right side as far as I could, because I wanted one tire up on the hump and the other tire kind of down in the hole. And I thought, that's where the bite was going to be. And when I come out, I felt it. I could just feel the thing locking in, and I was able to walk it out there and get her going. And it took off. It was, I couldn't believe it. And typically, my tractor is kind of light on the front, making more power. And, I need to get more weight on the front. These new tires, people don't realize that they're much heavier than what the old tires were.
Mm-hmm.
So when you change tires, which now I have, what do I have on there now? I think the whole shots. They were used whole shots, and I know they're a lot heavier than what I had on there before, the full pulls. So I'm missing a weight or two on the front, and then making more power. You got to watch out a little bit.
Yep.
So it's kind of riding the clutch so that I could get a little speed up before I really took off, and it just carried it really nice. In fact, it kind of surprised me at the end there. I got out of it, but I didn't really think I was going that fast. I figured when I was done there, my engine probably was broke. As hard as I hit the sand, heck, my hood came up. I couldn't even back up. The sled had me. I was done.
You were
know what I mean?
You were pinned, yeah.
I was pinned in there. I was like, holy crap, what the heck was I doing? That's not smart driving. But it was fun. It was fun.
It was an awesome hook. Yeah.
I got a quick question here from Jeremy Sean. How many years has Papa Smurf the tractor been pulling? This is a different.
Yeah,
we've actually had 2 Papa Smurfs, so to speak, but new chassis anyway.
Yeah, yes and no. Frame rails, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my dad bought that tractor, I think about 77, 78, and started pulling it right away, and it became Papa Smurf in 1981.
Okay.
So I've been pulling it myself since probably 92. So long time. It's been up and down the track. I tell people I've been down the track more than 1,500 times just on that tractor. That's a lot of pulling.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can really feel it, that's the thing about pulling. And obviously you're on the same tractor a lot. You can really feel when you have something and when you need to give it the throttle. And I see a lot of pullers they just give it all the throttle you can give it, and that's going to work. That doesn't always work. In fact, most of the time that does not work.
Yeah.
And especially on a Keystone track, it'll take the power, but you got to feed it. You can't just open her wide open. And I know there's a lot of guys that left there disappointed because they thought they really have a lot of power, but they never got it to the track.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen a couple of disappointing runs that just should have hooked up and done something, but they were blown off in the beginning and it never hooked again.
Never recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were done by the cone.
Yeah. Now, the Saturday night run was much different. The track, it wanted it right away. As soon as I started coming out and I started letting the clutch out, which I rarely, probably hardly ever, never do this, but I stiff armed it right away. Like I just put it wide open right away, and that thing just lifted like right now. I swear I wasn't even 20 feet out of the box, and that thing was just ready to go. Like it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was impressive. You watch so many vehicles. I was there for 4 sessions, and to watch that many vehicles go down the track, you pick up on it pretty quick if they're struggling or something's going good. And hooking up that early on that track is pretty impressive too, because most people don't hook up that quick.
Yeah, I mean, it was just perfect. It was just meant to be. I mean, it's just no other way to say it. The tractor is running really good. Been working on it a lot, last year, and for the indoor pulling, we didn't do much to it, other than I put a 6-inch exhaust pipe on from a 5-inch, and I don't know how much difference that makes, but maybe it does make some difference. But it had been running really good before, and just to hook up like that quickly, that's tough to beat.
There's a lot of stiff competition in your class, and there was a lot of good runs, but there was quite a few guys that were touching the brakes, and as soon as they hit the brakes, that takes some wind out of their sails, and just didn't. Yeah,
you can see it. You could see them guys when they had their front ends up, and they would hit the brake too hard, and you'd see the tractor go to the right or the left, whichever way they were braking, and it would put the front end right on the ground. The pull is over. When that happens at Keystone, your pull is done. I don't care how much power you got. It's over.
There was one run that I seen that the front end of the tractor was only lifted a couple of inches, maybe 3 or 4 inches here and there. Actually, no, it was almost constant, and he had a good run, which was pretty impressive.
That's really the goal. I mean, to me, I really don't want the front end in the air at all. Like I want it to be just, my front end still oscillates. I don't know if anyone ever noticed that, but so it's not a straight front end, and I'd still like a factory front end, and you just want that thing just teetering a little bit. That is by far going to be your best pull that you're going to have.
Just have you balance off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was in my mind, I kind of feel like I'm visualize a tractor with its front end about a foot off the ground. To get that, I never really gave it a thought that 3 inches already is your weight transfer.
Yep. Yeah. Beyond that, you're just losing
hitch height.
Yep, you're losing.
Yep. Yeah.
Back in the day, did he run NTPA regions back in the day? The tractor. Did your dad ever run? He did.
Yeah. So, what NTPA back in the day, it was PTPA, which is Pennsylvania Tractor Puller Association, and so the class that we run today is called Mod Turbo, but the original name was Modified Stock Turbo. So you had modified stock non-turbo, and then you have modified stock turbo. That is the current class, and really the rules have not changed a little bit. So when they first started running modified stock turbo, you had to run the pump that came with the tractor. And that was all fine and dandy, except for the internationals were really at a disadvantage because of the rotary pumps.
Right.
So, and then the weight they were running, the guys were running the 60-30 John Deeres. And at that time, those guys were putting the bigger engines in. They had the P pump on, and everyone was just letting it go. And of course, the Case had an A pump, and the Ford tractor had the Sims pump, which was probably the smallest out of all the pumps, but still a pretty good pump, an inline pump. And as time went on, when the actual modified stock turbo that we're running now it's called Mod Turbo, came to interstate, those rules were changed to an A pump. And at that time, NTPA was done in Pennsylvania. That's really why Interstate started, because
Mhm.
PTPA did not want to be a member state of NTPA anymore. And mainly what happened back then, and this wasn't a bad thing, but the NTPA has always led in safety. And at that time, it was updated blankets. It was, they were starting to talk about putting the tie bars in. They had a lot of different safety things. The big thing that got a lot of pullers, and I know this sounds crazy, but it was wearing a helmet.
Yes. That ain't
And
crazy. It's true.
yeah, for years, we didn't wear helmets. No fire suits, no nothing. And we pulled like that for many years because the guys that were pulling, they weren't, you were a baby if you were going to wear a helmet on a pulling tractor. I mean, they didn't have seat belts or nothing. Like, we just pulled, and they didn't want to hear it. Well, as time went on, Interstate was like, "Hey, you guys are going to start wearing a helmet. Like, this is getting to be a little much." And they started implementing all the rules that NTPA had implemented, but they were about, I'm going to say, at least 15 years behind, if not 20.
Yeah.
So now everyone that's pulling is like, "I can't believe you would ever do anything without a helmet. I can't believe you don't put your face shield down." Like, I don't wear a face shield because you can't. Most of the time, things fogged up. And they're like, "Man, what if something comes back?" I'm so used to, back in the day, we didn't even wear helmets. Like, the stuff was hitting you in the face. Yes. Like, whatever was coming off the motor, you were getting it, whether it's water or fuel or pieces, whatever it was, you're dirt, whatever it was, you were getting it. It's definitely changed. But yes, originally we did run, NTPA. And actually, when I started pulling it, I ran NTPA just a couple times, like maybe 3-4 times, because NTPA was all the way out in Ohio. And to run all the way out there, that didn't really make sense. I'll tell you when I did it, I think in 95 and 96, I went to Bowling Green and pulled in the Pro Stock class. And I had to be an NTPA member to do that.
Okay.
That's when I was NTPA, yeah.
Then came roll cages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
I
was
look at a beefed up tractor today, that might pull brush or something, that might just have a ROPS or something. I was like, that just don't look right to me anymore. It's got to have a roll cage. To me,
yeah.
the perfect look now for a
Does
modified
anybody wear
style
a Hans
tractor.
device?
Yes. And TPA wears, they have a collar. Some pullers, it's an option for that. They got to wear an NTPA. They got to wear the neck collar thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
But some, you can wear a Hans device if you want. Some do, some don't. I don't know who does. Mainly like a modified tractor, especially a mini, that is just an ungodly
The
handful.
whiplash.
So, but I'm sure they're out there. Yes.
Going back to our previous conversation.
Yep.
Um,
I'm sorry, Dwayne.
I
I don't know if
talk-
anybody can see. I'm sorry, Dwayne. Hold on one second.
I know a lot of people, so I talk with a lot of people at the pool, and one of the questions I got the most from even experienced pullers that have been in it for quite a while is the difference between the tractor classes. It seems like even the experienced pullers with all these different tractor classes, they're like, what's the difference between 510 hot farm and 10,000 hot farm and 11,000 hot farm? And so I also noticed that some of the pullers that didn't make it into the invitational, like some of Snyder County's hot stocks, actually put different tires on and ran in different classes. So the tractors were kind of mixed and matched. And that confused people too, because, well, this guy, he normally pulls hot stock, but now he's pulling hot farm or pro farm. And so I think that was the biggest thing. The most questions I got asked this weekend, what's the difference between all these tractor classes?
Well, that's a great question, and it's a very simple explanation.
Okay.
So what happens is you'll have a guy come and a group of pullers that'll come to a class, and they'll be pulling in the class, and they don't want the rules to change. And you have other pullers that want change for the rules. So we're dealing with it right now in the mod turbo class. So I'll just give you a prime example. And the mod turbo class is, of course, modified stock, which means you run an OEM head and an OEM block. And our fuel rule is number 1 or number 2 fuel, which for the people who don't know, that's either get it from out of the pump at Sheets, which would be number 1. Number 2 is like your off-road fuel for farm equipment or fuel oil. That is all we're allowed to run, no additives. But we have guys in our class that want to run hot fuel, which is fuel that you can buy for $20 a gallon. And they're like, well, it makes the tractor start easier. And obviously it makes more power, but it's $20 a gallon. Or they'll say, hey, why don't you run recasted heads? We want to run recasted heads. Well, the class, these are the rules of the class. It's OEM, and you're supposed to go as far as you can with inside these rules. Well, as soon as the guys don't get their way of making the rules, they'll go make another class. They'll go to another organization and they make another class, which is very similar, but like the Snyder County hot stock class you talk about versus the Pro Farm class. They're very similar, and a lot of those tractors they used to pull all together. But what actually happened there was the interstate had a 3-inch plug rule in front of the turbo. And behind the plug, you could run a map ring turbo. It didn't matter because you're pulling the air through the plug. The problem was too many cheaters. So what they were doing is they were running the plug was supposed to be within 2 inches of the turbo. Well, guys would run it 10 inches away from the turbo and then act like they didn't realize that they had to run it 2 inches. There would be guys that put a whole bunch of set screws around to hold the plug in, but then they hold holes drilled in the set screws so that the air could go right through there. They had guys that instead of having a round hole, they had an oval hole. So it was 3-inch when you put the plug in, but it was oval. So they just figured out all kinds of ways to cheat with that. So Interstate was like, you know what? It's hard to tech all these tractors. We're going to a box turbo. That really tore the class apart. I mean, a lot of guys just said, you know what? We're done. We're going to do our own thing. And they did. And that's, that hot stock class was kind of born that way. But a lot of them guys that were up there pulling had 600 cubic inch engines.
619.
Yeah. And they said, well, we don't care about that because they're not doing that well. But if you ask them same guys now, the 619 guys had figured something out. And these 540 or 500 cubic inch motors that we're running, they can't compete. And so it's just differences in clubs and how they want to do the rules is really what happens. I've been trying to talk to these other clubs. Like this year here, we're going to make a rule change. It only makes sense that they'd all run the same rules. If they each would give a little bit, that way the guys could go pull wherever they wanted to pull. But the problem is you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 guys that are not having it. They do not care. They don't want to pull with anybody else. This is just the way it is. And it's hard to grow pulling with that mentality.
Yeah, when there's no unification.
No, it's terrible. I mean, we have the Atlantic Pro Pullers has a class that is very similar to the Pro Farm, and Snyder County has a class that's very similar to the Pro Farm. And then Dragon Motorsports also has a class. It's all very similar. And at this point here, I think they all should go to that 510 class is what really should happen, because that's a nationally recognized class now. You could go pull anywhere in the country you wanted to pull. Why doesn't everyone just go to 510? That makes all the sense in the world. And give them 2 or 3 years grace period to get to 510. You know what I mean? Grandfather the guys in, say, hey, 3 years, everyone's going to be 510. This is what we're doing. And that would work.
There's a lot going on within each club. I know that maybe I shouldn't even say it on here. I know that there was some battles again at Snyder County trying to revise the rules to make it a little bit more compatible to to other organizations like you guys. And you still get a lot of kickback from the pullers. It's tough to bring everybody together.
The other thing that happens, and this almost has to happen. We're seeing it now in the trucks also. I mean, look at the work stock, which has turned into Wild Street,
Yep.
which has turned into basically something more than a 3.0 with street tires on. So what happens in tractor pulling is you can start with the least amount of rules, but like, keep them, weaned in a little bit. You're always going to have the guy that's ready to spend $10,000 on a turbo or a pump or whatever set of tires. So what happens is you have to keep making beginner classes because you want new guys to come in, but you don't want them to spend $25,000 on an engine.
Yeah.
So, we look forward to, I used to pull farm stock, like just what he was talking there, that non-turbo, that's where I started. And we want those guys to feel like they can come up and jump in a class and don't have to spend all this money. So that's why you see so many classes that are very similar that start off with different rules just to get more people involved. That's really what it's about. And it would be hard for the fan to even understand what the heck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I'm getting a lot of requests from guys right now to go back and start an actual street diesel class because of our Wild Street diesels. Just it's getting out of hand. It's basically a money class again, and we were trying to loosen it up because teching so many different brands of vehicles and turbos and makes and models can be a quite a headache to try to keep it unified. So that's the big thing on the agenda now, is trying to go back and keep the beginner classes intact so you have new people coming into the sport.
You think it'll be supported good though?
It should be. Somehow you start in the small class, and then you keep it at the rule and never change the rule on them. And then if they do graduate into the bigger one, then
they can always step up.
They got to go to the bigger one,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of keep changing these little rules. And that's this rule changing and modification that's all down in the garden tractors too, everywhere. Everybody's always, I can pull over here, I can pull over there, we can't fit in. That seems all the pulling, either small or big, they all have that same issue.
But that's been the success of NTPA. They don't allow the pullers to make the changes.
Right.
Yeah.
They run the operation.
Mm-hmm.
And any class that you see, like the mod turbo class, a prime example, the rules haven't changed in all 30 years or whatever, however long it's been, 30 some years. They haven't changed. That is why it's a strong class, because you know that you can put something together and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about changing this and changing that. The guys, what happens is a guy doesn't want to leave the class. He wants to have the class conform to what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And what he doesn't realize is he's probably cutting a lot of other guys out and the class will die. And that's why it's better to have a ruling body that you have guys that are sitting there making the rules, and the pullers really shouldn't be making the rules ever. It's a bad program. It doesn't work.
Yeah, so you should have
falls back to the me.
You should have a graduating ceremony. You're moving up to the next class. You're done in this class.
That's correct.
Yep. Well, we started Beast of the East to try to unify a lot of our truck rules in the East. We had so many different rules all over the place, and so we try to stick with keeping things the same, maybe safety rules, but keeping the rules the same for at least 5 years before we review or do any, what I would consider a medium to a major change. But most times you try to make decent numbers and have larger classes, at least have a decent showing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool. Oh, we got off tangent a little bit, but that's okay. It's tractor pulling. We got to talk about tractor pulling.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, safety is important.
Adam, real quick, Adam Jott sent me some photos, so we're going to delve into this, Jason. You know what it's going to be about. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, not only was he a champion, the second time around, right? You were a champion
Yeah.
in Mount Turbine.
2017.
Yeah, 2017 was the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was also a champion of something else. And this rascal popped the big question Saturday night after he received his award and everything for taking the championship. And Adam's got some pictures that they shot there. And I don't know what order they're in. I couldn't get them in the order I wanted them in. But of course, this year is after being presented the plaque and everything. That's the whole crew there. And gosh almighty, that's quite a few people there. Even Kurt, I see. Look at that. Kurt's over there on the end.
Yeah, Kurt's there.
That? Yeah, old sneaky. But is this going to work for me? Hold on a minute. There we go. I got it. It ain't going to work for me. What'd you do to me, Dwayne?
I didn't do anything.
I got it. It's probably going to be backwards now. Yeah, I couldn't get them in order. But anyway, these are photos he shot whenever Jason was proposed to Heidi right there. What was comical to me was everybody had turned and walked away after he got done giving the speech for winning the award. He turned and like, whoa, everybody come back here.
I thought the reaction of the people in the background was great.
Yeah. Yep. Everybody's
So,
like, what?
I know, Big Worm, you would understand this just because you know how I operate, but there was no plan.
No,
There,
I know that.
That's the best
there was absolutely no plan, and I decided to do this 3 to 5 minutes before it happened.
Yes.
So, I was standing there with my buddy House, and actually how it all worked out, we were just. So, did you notice the fire alarm that came on?
Yes.
Well, when that came on, I was sitting on my tractor going, holy crap, here I am backing into the sled, and this fire alarm's going off, and I'm trying to decide whether I should get my phone out to call Heidi and be like, hey, the fire alarm's going off, should we stop, what should we do? I was like, well, the phone's too far in, it's in my jean pocket, not in my driver's pants. I was like, whatever. So I got hooked up, and the alarm went off, the lights went out. So when I got done pulling, as soon as I got off my tractor, the fire chief and the firemen were down there. So that's usually something I would take care of. So I'm like, okay, guys, what's up? Well, we got to check to make sure everything's okay. Well, we were standing right in the way. I was like, we need to go over to the other side of the track. And so I took them to the other side of the track. Of course, there's nobody over there. I'm like, here, you can stand here and look and see what we're doing and, make sure nothing's on fire. So that's how I got to the other side of the track. So I was standing there and watching the pool go down, house come down. We were talking. I'd owed him some money for that pipe. He actually got the pipe for me, the 6-inch pipe.
Yeah.
And so I was paying him. His son was there. I said, make sure you count that, And while he was counting it, I was standing there going, you know what? I'm going to ask Heidi to marry me. It just popped in my brain. I didn't have a ring. I didn't have nothing. I mean, I'm not prepared for this at all. So I looked on the roller. It was in front of me, and they were still pulling. So everyone always asked, they're like, well, what were you going to do if you didn't win? And I would just laugh and say, I guess we'll never know. But the reality was I was going out there on that track regardless of what was going to happen. And so I was looking for some wire on the roller to make a ring quick. And there was no wire. I'm like, crap. So I hurry up and went outside. And as I went out there, I picked up my phone and I called her dad. Of course, he didn't answer. And, I called back again, and I wanted to make sure that everyone was cool with this. So, of course, I asked him, and I went out there and on a piece of equipment out there, I seen a chain hanging. There was a keychain ring hanging on this chain. So I grabbed that, and I hurry up and took that keychain ring off, stuck it on my finger. And I walked out there, and my daughter, she was right there. And I was going to tell her, I didn't tell a soul. I was going to tell my daughter, I was going to say, hey, I'm going to do this right now. And I decided not to even tell her. I was like, you know what? Let's just see how it goes. And I like to talk. And when I went out there and grabbed the mic, I was locking up. I didn't even know what to say. I didn't know who to thank. Like, I've always got something to say because I was thinking about how I was going to do this as it was happening. So I was like, you know what? Best thing for me to do is give the thing back to Tom, let him do his thing. And that gave me a couple more, moments to think about how this was going to go down. And then when Tom was done, everyone kind of turned around. I hurry up and grabbed the mic. I'm like, hey, I want to tell you guys something. And then of course, I got really emotional because I knew what was happening. Heidi
That's
looks at me and she was like, you're okay. You're good. You're good. Because she thought I was going to say something about my dad and, 50 years of being in business and all this stuff that, we could talk about. I wasn't even thinking about none of that. So she didn't even know, she didn't even have a clue. And so, of course, she can't hear in there. So I was like, well, I'm going to say a little bit of something. I couldn't even get it out. And I was like, best thing to do is get on one knee. I think everybody will figure it out. So that's what I did. And it was perfect because
it was perfect. Yep.
I didn't even think about it. But until all these guys were sending me these pictures, I'm like, holy crap. Like, this was perfect. I didn't have to pay anyone for pictures, video. We got everything is documented. It didn't cost me a penny. Like, this was super cool, and everyone
the
was
ring
so
was even
surprised.
cheap.
Yeah, dude,
Was
it
it
was
live?
something. And everyone was so surprised. It was just perfect. It was perfect.
Was it
Yeah,
live
Adam.
streamed?
What's that?
Was it live streamed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was live streamed also, yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, Adam said the energy was so amazing. So glad to be present in the moment. Congrats.
Oh, it was
photographer. Yeah.
Well, and the funny thing is, we met, Heidi and I met at the facility there, and it was just it just felt right, and like I said, I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and it just hit me right then and there, and I 100% knew I had the right person. She could care less about the ring, like that was least of the worries.
Yep.
And there was never a doubt. Like, she's a no doubter and always has been a no doubter. And that's when she said, well, when are we going to get married? I'm like, sooner the better. She's like, why are you in such a hurry? I'm like, because why not? Like, why wouldn't I want, like, when you go, like, let's go, like, let's not screw around. So I'm not sure how that'll all work out, but stay tuned.
Keystone 2027's next year.
Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to happen before that.
Yeah, it took me 3 years. We got engaged. It took 3 years, and I just finally said, you know what, October 3rd. And a couple of weeks before, I said, let's just do it. Yeah, I mean, it's almost 3 years after asking her. So
it's been a lot of fun because it even to me, like, it doesn't feel real, and I call her, like, she's trying to work and I'm trying to work, but I'll call her 4 or 5 times a day, it seems like, and be like, hey, can you believe we're going to do this? You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy. It's so much fun. Like,
it was perfect. Everything was just spot on. Jason Forrester, perfect. I mean, that was just, I knew when you called him back and you just totally stopped talking and you turned around. I think you kind of did one of these numbers.
Yeah.
I said, I've seen that before, and I know exactly what the hell he's getting ready to do.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned if he didn't turn and drop on one knee.
Yeah.
I said, I know it.
Well,
but, that's cool.
Quick
good.
things like that keep you from having the nerves all evening if you know that you're doing it ahead of time.
Yep.
I never thought about it. I never thought about it until that moment right there, and it was the funniest thing. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that right now, and it just hit me, and I just did it.
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
You got done doing your presentation after the awards thing there, and I turned around and I looked in the stands, and when I looked back, you were on one knee already.
Yeah, well, I didn't screw around, and those pictures are so funny because everyone there is just so blown away. Like Heidi was, her looks, when you get them still frames, it's just like you could tell she was like, "Holy crap!" You know what I mean? Like, I can't even believe that this is happening, and it was. I got to give kudos to all the people taking the pictures, man. They really got some good ones. Like, it was really cool from all angles.
And she did say yes. So,
well, I guess because that's what I asked her. I'm like, did you even say yes? Because I don't know if I heard that. But yeah, of
She
course
shook her head a
she's
little bit. Yeah.
yeah, she was, enough. I took that as a yes. So no, she definitely said yes.
That's awesome. Good deal.
Yeah, the photographers were scrambling to get into position.
Yeah. Yeah.
Caught them off guard a little bit, but they got it done.
The picture I love the best is you can see Yogi Street in the background on one of them. And I mean, he's just got the biggest smile on that you've ever seen anyone. And it just looked like there's a whole bunch of people over there, but it looks like he's the only one standing over there when you look through everyone. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, the pool on this sent me that, and it's pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty neat. How about Kurt? Did Kurt give you any fine words of advice? Big brother Kurt.
Yeah, he couldn't believe it. He's like, attaboy. He was ready. You know what I mean? And
That's
on that one picture, you could tell he was like, oh, okay. Like, what the heck are you doing? You know what I mean? Everyone always asks, like, what the heck are you waiting on? Like, what's the problem? Like, what?
Yeah,
there was no problem. There's never a problem. It's just, looking for the right moment.
Right time. That's right. Exact right time. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
You had a lot going on this weekend. You guys doing your 50 years thing, the tractor, all the people that came for that, proposed pulling, running the pull. You didn't.
Yeah, it was pretty busy.
You didn't go crazy
Proposing
yet.
and winning. The
Well,
win all over the front.
A lot of people don't know this, but I actually ground a sonar head this week for one of my competitors that needed one, and they dropped it off there Saturday. And I really didn't get to it too hard until Monday. I started grinding. I ground on a little bit Tuesday night, trying to get the rest of our stuff. But Wednesday night, after we got done with the pool, setting everything up, I went from about 10:30 to 3:00. I ground on it, and then I went to the pool Thursday night, and I left about a half hour early. That's why I was watching the live stream on the way home. And I finished grinding that sonar head. I got to bed at 5 a.m. Back up early for Friday to do all that stuff, and got his head done, and he put it on. He actually made the finals. So it was good. And yeah, that I was definitely sleep deprived that weekend for sure.
Wow. Well, it's in the books, so that's the best part.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you got plenty of witnesses, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can't. There's no takebacks now. It's definitely in the books, and we got it recorded.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's great, man. That's actually the second time that's happened there now. Yours obviously was on the track, but the first time was Joe Dorian asked his girlfriend at the time to be his wife. It had to be before 2013. It was 2010. It was 09, 10, or 11, somewhere in there. He did it over at my video platform. He somewhere in that time frame. He asked because he had messaged me ahead of time, a couple of weeks before the pool or so. He says, "Hey, do you think?" I said, "Absolutely." I said, "You come right on over there, and I'll make sure the announcer knows." And he's, it was in between classes, and he announced what was going on, and he stood right there and asked her. I forget her name. Sorry, Joe. But
well, that's the cool thing about Keystone and tractor pulling in general. I mean, there's a lot of matches made. Being part of pulling and going to these different places, and just not to friendships. I mean, there's lifelong people are put together, and there's kids that come out of these things, and it's pretty cool. When you really look back at how it goes, and it's out there. There's a lot of good people to meet and be friends with. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a lot of memories there. This was the 18th, considering we had one session in 2020 and then zero. There was no show in 2021. So, but, 20's coming. A couple more years.
We'll be ready for it, and hopefully, we can get them pulls down to about 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and the live stream works perfect, and everybody knows what's going on, and it should be really good.
Knock that pull time down, you have time for a wedding real quick. So.
Yeah, right.
I hope to be back next year. I'm hoping. Got my fingers crossed.
Good.
Yeah.
Love to have you back.
Yeah, I want to come back to I want to be there this year. It's a help thing. Can't get help here. So, but
Yeah.
anyway. All right. We're in an hour and 15 minutes. Robert, I know you still probably got a couple more things you want to talk about for the antique pool coming up this weekend.
Well, it's just
But,
well, basically, it's gonna be live streams Friday and Thursday on Robert Drawbridge on YouTube. Already posted it on Facebook. It's already scheduled on YouTube. Just go to the channel and you can click on and watch it. Right after the stream starts on Friday and Saturday, I'll share the link out to the Mid Atlantic Facebook site and my Facebook site and share it with anybody that I know, so you all can come in and watch. So hopefully I get some good feedback. You all get thumbs up and comment and share it and get some feedback on the sound, because we talked about that and I'm already dreading that where that's going to end up.
All you can do is try some
much
different stuff and see what happens.
As much as it's announcing, I'm going to try to do my specialty, catching the distance and speed on one track, picture in picture. The other one, I already show you my new gadget. I'm going to try to call it out with as we go along, because it's going to be one busy day. It's probably going to go close to midnight. They're looking at to have over 600 hooks both days. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully everybody likes it and the quality is improving. I don't know what else to tell you. Just, click, like, share, and comment. That's it.
And he's the guy, Jason. His live streams, he does a real good job with them, and he can do 2 tracks by himself live streaming with remote cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm complaining about sound. Everybody else tells me, don't worry about it. We know it's the arena, all this and that. But when I met Dwayne, I didn't posted one of his Beast of the East because I was upset about the sound. And he said, don't worry about it. Just put music behind it and just let it play.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I can't do that. People want to hear that truck, you know what I mean, or that tractor, So
yeah.
Sometimes I drive Jerry nuts with that when he's in front of me filming.
I'm turning around and here he comes back down off the podium. He's running up along the track. I don't know what he's doing. He's running to a camera somewhere or speaker.
But anyway,
or a
I figured it out. And you guys talked about making friendships. This past weekend I had a memorable event. A bunch of kids come to me. They had a shirt for me. They put all their little tractors on the back of it, 5 or 6 tractor names, and I don't know, maybe more. And on the front of it says Mr. Rob, cameraman. And they go like, you belong to us now.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So that's cool, And just getting phone calls and messages from across the country, people that I never met, kids coming up to you and, hey, sign my shirt. And I'm like, oh my God, and I got to sign T-shirts. But it's growing. Channel is growing, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And I hope to keep helping and promoting the sport, whether they're being garden tractors, antiques, or the pros.
That's it.
So,
and we need it. We need all facets of it. So,
and I hope to help Jerry film this Keystone next year.
Yep.
After I get done,
I have to be there, buddy. I really do.
But I don't know if I'm going to be tired or not. This past weekend, I was wore out with the garden tractors, covering 3 tracks and switching and constantly being on, working. It was tiring. It's a lot of walking in that. You guys,
Keystone will wear you out.
1 million square foot.
It will wear you out until you get used to it. Yeah, it probably took me a good 10 years before it's just a walk in the park. It's tiresome, especially the early days, because we didn't know, we were still adjusting. How many hooks are we going to have? Oh, we could get away with this. And oh boy, we should have cut our hooks maybe, but you were growing, you needed the money.
You guys are doing it all wrong. You got to train for Keystone.
Yeah, pretty much. You're right.
You have to train like a month out. You need to start putting some miles on. You got to train for it or you'll be screwed. You got to train.
That first year. I mean, of course, you always had Gordyville, Cloverdale, and stuff like that. But that first year at Keystone, I don't know. I run my fool, off. My feet were numb. I could not wait to get home Sunday and just park on the couch. Get unloaded, hurry up and got unloaded. And I sat on that couch and the phone started ringing. And it rang, and it rang, and it rang. And it's ticket customers calling with complaints or, hey, you did this good or whatever. I'm like, I just want to sit here and rest, man. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But
So
it was
Relax.
cool. It's good to get the feedback.
So Saturday when I got to the hotel, just the phone just started just buzzing and messages, and I
Wow.
just found I just turned it off. I said I can't keep answering this because it was going on. It was over 400 messages next morning when I woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, grateful that people watched it and they're on board with it. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
Adam says
really
it's
cool.
22,000 steps each night for him as a photographer. But
I
I
get to 15,000 and I feel like an old man.
remember the trips up and down the hallway going back and forth to the show office or whatever. That gets you do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
So fun. Real quick, hey John Smith, how you, buddy? Good to see you. I don't know how many people know. Everybody knows the name Gary Mills in the sport of pulling. Unfortunately, Gary Mills is no longer with us. He passed away. Of course, Mikey's well involved with us in the East Coast here. Uh, the old one to go turbine modified tractor. Everybody remembers the one to go tractor. Has been purchased out of Ohio. It's coming back home. It's actually going to its original shop in Falston, Maryland. It's not Mike Mills. His phone's ringing. He's got a phone call.
Yep.
But Larry Paulding, his brother Jeff pulled in the mini tractors, big block mini tractors this past weekend at Keystone. Larry bought the tractors now called Wildfire, has 2 turbine engines on it now, and he will be debuting that here this pulling season with Atlantic Pro Pulling. So we are excited for Larry, good guy, and we're excited to see it pull this year. So he'll be cutting his teeth and learning the ropes. And
Does
we
that
wish him
mean
the
there's a
best.
possibility that'll be at Beast of the East?
Oh, it'll be at Beast of the East, barring any breakage or anything. Yeah, he'll be there. Right, Larry? Larry's going to be at all of them. I know he's wound up ready to go. So I don't know if you heard that or not, Jason, but the old one to go tractor, he's gone again.
I'm back.
There he is. The old one to go tractor, Gary Mills is coming back. It's back home here. It's going to be pulling this year. Larry Paulding.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bought it. It's called Wildfire now. It was in Ohio, and it's twin turbine now. And Larry Paulding and Larry's brother Jeff pulls in the big block mini class there. He used to actually help us on the
The
track.
Wonky Donkey.
Wonky Donkey, yeah. Jeff Paulding, Jersey. They call him Jersey. You might know him by that. But he did unhooking for a while there, of course. But now his brother Larry bought the old one to go. It's in well, actually, it's back here in Falston in the old shop. So at Gary Mills' old place. So yep,
That's really cool.
Yeah. One thing we're short on is modifieds. We got to get some modifieds in here, some more smoker tractors, and we'll be all right. It'd be fun. But that'd be a nice piece of history coming back. Phone's ringing again. I'm sure his phone rings all day long. So sometimes he's hard to get a hold of. Hey. Might be the future wife saying, "Hey, get your butt home. It's dinner time."
At 10 o'clock at night.
Hey, when you're a forester, you eat dinner whenever you can eat dinner. I can guarantee you that.
Was that
You
Yeah,
bet, Larry. You're welcome, buddy. You bet.
There's no time. You just do it when you got to do it.
That's it, man. That's it.
So,
Well, anything
are
else,
you-
guys, you want to?
yeah, I got one more thing.
Sure. Go ahead.
So I seen that you guys took over Ag Industrial. So you guys
Yes.
are going to be expanding out.
Oh boy.
So
Remember
ag
this-
industrial was something that Corey's been working on for a while, and they were looking for, the purchase, the guy that owned it before, the major portion of it was ready to get out, and so we bought that portion out, and ag industrial has done a really good job, through the years, and we're just looking to be able to help them with some of the things that we do. So you won't see a lot of changes at first, but we will be looking to be selling more equipment, and there'll be a lot more inventory in stock and that kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Right
Yeah,
now
they're-
we're just working on the internal stuff and aligning, their system with ours, and it takes time. It takes time.
Yeah, I have the New Holland location used to be ABC Groff, And when I was a kid, that's where I was always at, getting stuff for the farm. So, yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty cool. Now you got a
Yeah,
New Holland dealership in New Holland.
yeah, that's the one that I'm most excited about because I take care of the forage harvester sales, and Lancaster County is a huge market that
Mhm.
I haven't really touched because I don't have anyone there.
Yep.
When something goes down, we're an hour and a half away. And when the forage harvester or combine breaks, I mean, it's especially forage harvester, it's right now. Like they want fixed right now. There is no
Yep.
tomorrow. And so now we're going to be able to do that. And pretty excited about that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Yep. You guys also got to debut the big tractor. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So that was a kind of a weird deal too. They let us know like last week. So Keystone would have been, obviously Thursday, Friday. The week prior to that, they said, "Hey, you guys can do this, and you can have this tractor." And so I was getting on Saturday. I was with our marketing girl figuring out what we were going to put out there, and I approved it on Sunday. And Monday morning, we invited customers, and we ended up with I think 60 there. And the coolest thing was we drove that tractor over in the main hall, and the main hall is really big.
Yeah.
And with that independent front suspension, you wouldn't realize just walking in the main hall, but they must have poured that concrete like over 100 days. And you could really see that tractor going like this down through the hallway. It was pretty cool. And, to be able to run the tractor in there,
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever been done before like that. And so we had a meal over there, and we were really looking for feedback from the customers on what they thought of the tractor, and we had a lot of competitive guys there that have different brands of tractors so they could compare. It was a really good deal. It was a success. And then
Yeah.
we brought those customers over to the pool, and they had like a VIP area. We had headphones for them, so they got the full experience there on Friday night, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that you don't realize how large exhibition hall is there at the farm show complex, the pit
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
That is a huge building. We go in there, prior to anybody being towed in when they start laying the pits out and stuff. That is a big building, huge.
It's huge, and that main hall is huge too.
Yeah,
Like the whole facility is just set up for anything that you want to do, agricultural, for sure. We're very lucky to have it this close to us.
So in the main hall, you had to dodge columns though. They have some.
Yeah,
Uh,
but they were plenty wide. You know what I mean? They're plenty wide, and we just made basically a track that we went up and down through, and it was really good. I mean, it turned out, throwing it together like that and getting everyone there. It really, and I was able to give everyone like a behind the scenes tour of tractor pulling and what we did, and we took them up into the boardroom, and you can out overlook the pits, and they got to learn a lot of things that the average person never sees.
that's cool.
definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Gosh, anything else? I'm sure I have 100 questions after I'm done talking here tonight.
That's okay.
I think I'm done. We're gonna be here till midnight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's already 10 of
No, I
10.
always enjoy coming on and talking to you guys, and
Yeah, man.
we're our family here. We're always looking to promote pulling however possible. We try to support everything we can with tractors and equipment to use on the tracks, and all the pulls around. We like to put equipment on the track for the people to use, and it gets our brand out there, and it gets our tractors out there, and we try to help out with the rules when we can, and doing things like this, and anything that makes sense for pulling, and that's for, just like you said, Rob, from garden tractors to farm stock to non-turbo. We do it all, and I'm a tractor pull fan. I like watching everything pull. Doesn't matter what it is, and it's cool to get an opportunity to do something like this.
Yep, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. Yep, that's
Okay.
awesome. If it wouldn't be for people like you putting the effort into it, we would be struggling. And
it takes us all, and it takes every single one of us that are doing this. And, just like you talked about the guy on hooking the sled, I mean, that's a real job right there. If you've
Yeah.
never done that, you have no idea. You talk about your feet hurting. How about
And
your
your
arm?
back.
I'm telling
Your
you,
arm
and back.
and your
That
back.
is a job and a half right there. Those
That
guys,
hook's heavy. Those hooks are
those
heavy.
guys earn their keep big time.
Yes. Yes.
Yep,
Yep.
especially when the hook gets buried in the dirt and you can't hardly get your hand in between the weights to pull the hook out.
Yep.
But they did a good job this past weekend. They didn't
Yeah, they sure
fool
did.
around too long.
Yeah, I hear one of the best. Andy Keene's been hooking forever, and he's well known. People pullers have said, when I back in the sled and I know Andy's back here hooking, I know I can pull forward, tighten the chain, and go. I know
Yeah.
I'm good to go. But my understanding, I won't say this 100% positive. My understanding is he's stepping away from doing that now. So that's big shoes to fill. I mean, because that's one guy you can put back here. You ain't got to worry about it. He knows what's going on. That's gonna hurt some promoters that lean on him for that.
I encourage anyone, at any of these pools to get any of the young guys involved and train them. Train them how to flag. Let them be with you out there. Train them how to hook and the proper way of doing this stuff. There's lots of people out there that want to volunteer, but they're afraid to ask. So
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't hurt to ask and try to get more people involved because we need as many people as we can get.
Yeah, because we're only getting older.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You ain't gonna be out there forever. Well, Rob will. He's like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I got 5-6 days every weekend from now till December.
That's
Every
awesome.
Saturday, I have things on it, and I go like, "Well, why you have so many?" It's one place is going to be dry, and I can promise you it's going to be your place. But I'm going to film something somewhere that weekend.
Yeah.
And I really don't care if it's a garden tractor, even if they just put in a block.
Yeah.
To the, whatever you want to call it, to the pros. We're going to film something.
Yes, Clint Yance, who for many years worked at the Buck, says yes, our old guys are too old to be out there anymore. Pretty much.
Well, as long as I can stand my stand up, I'm going to be out there even with the crutches. I'll pay a kid.
I plan to be out there as long as I can.
I'll pay a kid to put my stand up.
Yep.
Yeah.
The day's coming where the RV is starting to look a lot more fun. So the wife and I plan to just do that. Just once retirement's here and done.
A lot of guys, well, you guys know, but a lot of guys don't know this. I do have a full-time job.
Yeah.
So
well, I know you do, and I ain't going to start on you. I'm going to leave you
weekend,
alone.
So, yeah,
works for the state of Maryland. I'll just leave it at that.
I did my taxes today. I'm very happy.
There
you should be.
I was surprisingly very happy when it was done.
You're welcome. My tax dollars. That's my tax dollars down there. See?
He is he claimed all his camera equipment as business expense, so he got a bunch of money back, right?
Yeah. And cleaning it.
Yeah. And then I was missing some receipts, and the accountant was upset. And I'm like,
yes.
Well, that's okay. And he gave me a whole new spreadsheets now that I have to follow. I got a whole new regimen to learn. Yeah.
Got to keep Uncle Sam happy.
Always. Okay, I don't want to hold Jason up. I know that's almost 10 o'clock, guys. Everybody, it's time to go to bed. So, for sure.
Anyway, guys, Mid-Atlantic Antique Super Pool next weekend. So we'll see you there. Thank you, Jerry, for having me on.
Yeah, and by all means, keep sharing the link around for the live stream.
Yep.
Share it every day. People don't get tired of seeing it. Share it every day.
Yep.
And don't forget to put it on the websites for us guys that don't have social media. I think everyone kind of forgets about that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't see half of this crap because I'm used to just going to a website on my computer. I don't have Facebook. I don't have this stuff. I don't know. Unless someone tells me So you're missing out on a lot of people. Just because you have it, don't mean that everyone has Facebook.
I'll actually do that. I'll copy. I don't have a freaking website. 26 years, Jason. 26 freaking years. I've been a paying customer to Angel Fire, and poof, it's just gone. Everything I built, it's all gone. I can't
That's
get an
crazy.
answer from them jerks.
I do have a web address, but I
It's all gone.
haven't got to
Put it on pull off.
Yeah.
Put it
I
on
still have
pull
a
off.
message board, but yeah.
There you go.
Pull-off.com.
It's anywhere that you can go and get that kind of information. And you know, there's a lot of guys around like me that's any place they go. And if they don't see it on there, it don't exist.
Yep. Pull-off.com.
Yeah.
All right, let me write that down.
Write that down. Yep. Good point. I have a new website started. I just haven't had time to work on it.
Well, I have a web address. I just don't have a website yet.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like not the thing to do, but it is a good place to land.
Yeah. You still need well, selling videos and stuff. You got to have a place to do it. You know.
Yeah.
Facebook, yeah. Again, there's people, Jason, like yourself, that don't know what Facebook is. Don't go to Facebook, or so it's not doing you any good.
I think years ago we used to, was it called Triple H or something like that? Used to have all the pools on, our local pools at least.
Yep. I'd come up with an idea, and I was working on it pretty hard, and then the people I had working on it just kind of failed me. Maybe if I throw it out there, someone can pick it up. But I was going to make an app. I was working on an app, and the app would have every pool on that would participate. I'm talking all over the country. That way, when you went on vacation, you could type in where you were going, and you could see what pool was close to the area. And so that was part of it. And then on the app also would have been like a puller's link, so you could jump on Forster Pulling and see what we had going on. You could jump on anyone's pulling. You could jump on Beast of the East. All that stuff would live there, and people would feed that, and then people could go wherever they wanted to, and they could catch all the information. And on that app, you could put out, the updates that you wanted to put out. And I was $7,500 into it, and the guy just wasn't getting anything done. I pulled the plug on it. But that's really what needs to be done, so people can follow along. Because right now, where do you get the interstate schedule? Where do you get the Atlantic schedule? Do they overlap? Where do you get the Snyder County schedule? Where do you get pull off schedule, full pull schedule? Like you really have to know what you're doing to figure out where the pools are at. It shouldn't be like that.
One click to get access to everything. I agree.
That's a great idea.
Yes. Yes.
Almost everybody's got a smartphone.
Yeah. So
I'm
now
not
we just
familiar
need
how to
that
do
tech
that.
guy that's into pulling that can make this happen, and it would make all of our lives so much easier.
You need somebody that can build an app.
Yep.
I don't know of anybody, but I'll keep my eyes out.
Me neither.
I don't know. I honestly don't know anybody that does apps, but I'm sure there's somebody out there. What do you think, Robert? You know anybody?
I'm just thinking right now.
Yeah.
You just planted a bug.
I'm sure I'd come up with somebody.
Not like I don't have enough challenges.
Yeah.
But this is kind of intriguing because I have the same problem. I mean, I want to see this guy, I want to see that guy, and always, let me find their Facebook page and let me find this.
Yep. Yeah, if you were on there and you wanted to be a fan of Papa Smurf, you would know where I was pulling at. You would already know where I was heading, and you could jump on there and you could figure it out right away. And that would be the same for all the pullers. And how you get it paid for is the pullers could put their, they would pay to be on that, and it would pay. Like you could make it pay enough to keep her going, and it would work. It would 100% work.
I'll call Uncle Donnie Trump. I'm sure he's got somebody who can do it.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Okay, that's a good idea. I have to think about that. It's got to be somebody.
Got to be someone. Well, you guys call me back when you find someone. We can discuss it again.
Yeah. Will you answer if we call back?
Yeah, there's a lot more ideas I had to go along with that.
Okay. I think it's a great idea. Good idea.
I'm all for it.
Yep.
I
Just gotta
am.
find the right person to build it. Okay. All right. We appreciate everybody being here. Chat was kind of busy there for a little while. I had a lot of viewers tonight. You put a Jason
Good.
Forrester name up there and boom, it's like a magnet.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, just tell everybody, just like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, make a comment, share,
That's it.
tell your friends. Jerry's gonna be here next week with something else.
Yep.
Do,
That's for
do
sure.
what?
I said you're gonna be online with something else next week.
Yep.
You have more to say about something.
Always. I've mellowed with age. I'm okay now. But anyway, Jason, we appreciate you coming on. Man. I
Yep.
know you're a
Hey,
busy
thanks
person.
for inviting me, and look forward to the next time.
Yep, and congratulations.
Yep. Thank you.
By all means. Yep.
Congratulations, Jason.
Yep. Thank
Robert?
you, Robert.
Robert,
Yeah.
have fun this coming weekend. I'll be in touch with
I
you,
will.
I'm sure.
Oh yeah,
Dwayne?
you be the one to ask you how's the feed.
Oh yeah, it's fine. If I get a chance, well, I'll definitely be here, but during the day, I should be. I can spot check it from time to time. Should be able to. Excuse me, but Dwayne, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And
Thanks
we'll-
to Jason and Robert for coming on. It was great. A lot of information on here. And
Yeah.
we'll see everybody the next time.
Sounds good.
everybody.
See you on the
chat.
track.
There you go.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Sounds good. We'll see everybody hopefully next week. If not, it'll be the week after, but we'll plan to have something next week. So
Yep.
till then, appreciate
See
you. Thank you.
See ya.
See you, Jason. Thanks. Be right back, guys.